Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a reboxing for Tapestry, but including this new folded space insert that's come recently, along with all the expansions. I've got it all packed tightly in here, so if you want to see how I organized it, stay tuned. So first off, I'll say this may not be the best way to organize it, but it's just what I've come up with so far, and after I have a chance to pull it out and play a couple times, I might change some things. I also want to give a shout out to Nacho Average Tabletop channel, and their video helping me understand how to put together the folded space insert was really helpful. And then I also looked at how they organize it just to get some ideas, and did some similar things and a few things different just based on what I have in my collection versus theirs. With mine, you can see that I have everything in there right now, and there's a little bit of a lid lift, and I'll show you as I open it up why and how I might alleviate that. So we'll take the lid off first. Right away on the top, I've got the newest set of rules. So we've got this compilation of all the rules, I think, that came with this. In fact, in the folded space, in the third expansion, it says with comprehensive rulebook. So I've got the things that came in with that, which I believe is the comprehensive rule play for solo, the Shadow Empire 2-player variant, and then the Tapestry full book with, I think, everything. And so I've got these right on top, and it doesn't sit real flat. I'm not real happy with it. I haven't found a better way to do it. Maybe you'll have some suggestions, because I'm worried that these are going to get a little bit bent. It's not entirely flat here. It's close. But yeah, maybe you'll have some ideas. So then here's all the player boards. And then underneath that, off here to the side, again, this isn't sitting perfectly flat either. I'm afraid that's going to get warped, but this is that buildings tile. Yeah, so there's some things I like about the insert, and then some things that I feel are kind of lacking. One is I haven't found a nice, smooth way to put everything with all these pieces in that need to be flat so they don't get bent and out of shape. I haven't found a great way to make a flat surface on the top here, so maybe you have a better idea than what I've come up with. And then here on this side, this sits fine, and it's almost flat if you put some things on here, but I don't think it was really designed with this in mind so much. Anyway, so also I will say, I've put together a number of folded space inserts, and this was the most confusing of any that I've put together. I think because there's two variants built into one collection, and then also there was a misprint in the first printing of it too. So, but I did figure it out. So here are all the different map boards. So those fit nice and pretty flat right there. So I'm happy with where that is. And then I've got the little baggie here on top. And then I've got, we'll start over here. Over here is for the 5th player with the white pieces. And I do have in my collection these extra little pieces for tracking and scoring that are an Etsy add-on. So that does make mine maybe a little more full than maybe the standard. But in this one I was able to fit in all 3 dice for the player, and then all the pieces. So for the white player, it's a little bit bigger tray. And then right here, I've got all of the different civilization boards. And so there is a nice thick pile. The ones that are still in the loop are just in the newest expansion. I haven't even had a chance to try that or look at those. And you can kind of see some different coloring for the different expansions that have come out. But there's a lot of civilizations. So those all fit pretty nicely right there. And then over here, and like I said, I've got this board here, the 5th track for arts, that just it fits pretty reasonably flat right there. So we'll put that up here for now. And then over here on this side, I've got this thin little red piece. So I'll kind of talk to you too about what the different insert pieces are. So there's 2 that are reddish orange. There's this little flat one, and you can tell that it's supposed to have these, I forget what these are called, the purple square ones. I'm drawing a blank on it. And I've just put this here. I couldn't really find any other place to put it. And then underneath here it shows that's where you're supposed to put these circle tiles. for the buildings if you want to use those. And then down here, I've just put the player cards, the player aids here on top of the blue cards, and the blue cards it shows fit there. So this little skinny red box was pretty easy to put together and pretty clear what it was designed for. The one that I took out earlier, a minute ago, this one, it's got some nice, see if I can keep from spilling, it's got some nice art all along the sides. And it's a different shape than the other 4 boxes for the player pieces. And I like this one better. I understand why they couldn't make them all the same just because of fitting everything into the same box. But this one actually holds all the dice, and it's, you know, I can get everything in here where there's no lift. It's actually flat. All right, so that's kind of first layer with just those 2 pieces. And this was pretty easy to put together as well. The pieces, because they have this design on the outside, it was pretty clear to see how that fit together. All right, let's go ahead and look at these other ones for the other player colors. So here's for green, and this was also pretty easy. It's got greenish, yellow, kind of all around the edges. And again, I've got all the pieces there. I do have the red and the black die in there, and I do have also the extra pieces that were the Etsy special prints here for these banner markers and things like that. So it does make it a little full, and it doesn't sit perfectly flat, but you're putting these mats on top, and so that works reasonably well. Right underneath that I have the yellow one, and then here's the red one. Again, these were really easy to put together because they all have the coloring along the side. And then I've got the blue one, and there's 2 of these stacked on top of each other. And all these player little containers and these for little pieces, they were really easy to figure out how to put together because they have a unique shape, and it didn't really matter. There wasn't really anything that wasn't clear, like inside there. You can see that's exactly what this is for. For the player pieces, I guess I could dump one of them out so you can see at least one of them. I'm not going to do that for all of them, but now I'm having a hard time getting these to slide back in. There we go. I'll just do it for the red ones here, and I'll just dump it off to the side. So in the bottom of all of these boxes, there's a little art there to show you that this is for the red player pieces. All right. So that was all pretty easy. And then this one down here in the bottom also pretty easy to assemble and made quite a bit of sense because it's got the space tiles here laying that way, and there's some art here, and then the land tiles here on their sides with some more art there, and you can see the space decoration and then a little planet there. So it kind of made sense, and you got the map picture here. This one I was able to figure out. The problem with the instructions, there was a little bit of a misprint, and then with the version 1, which is made for when you don't have the extra add-on bases for the buildings, versus version 2, which is what I was assembling, that is supposedly made so that you can put everything with the bases on inside there. So that was pretty easy. These are pretty easy. And then these other couple places, it looks like I need to add some more glue to that one, where it's a little less clear how to put them together, which face is facing up and things like that between version 1 and version 2. So just take your time setting it up. Don't glue it initially till you're sure you got it like you want. Now I'm putting all the regular dice into these individual trays, but these were just too big. It fit fine in this one, but I couldn't squeeze it into these without a lot of lift, so I just put those extra 4 there, which is nice and easy to handle. And then on the bottom of these, it tells you, like, and I may have this one upside down. Again, with the 2 versions, it was a little bit clear because on the instructions, it doesn't show you anything about the art on here. It's just, but on the other side, it's got Treasury, Barn, and then Arts. But I wanted to put my dice here, so I used this side that shows the dice. So I don't know if that's really the way it works, but what I found is to get these to fit in here, you kind of just have to finagle and like move things around a little bit so you can get them fit as many pieces in as possible. And yes, I'm for sure going to have to re-glue this in. It's coming loose already, so I'll have to add some there. But so I just picked some short ones there, and that just goes right there. So this one was a little bit trickier also, just in that there's a couple pieces with this die on it, and on one side, and then with this kind of monuments or whatever. I'm not sure what that is supposed to be on that side. And then it's just blank here. And they're different sizes for version 1 and version 2. So that was a little confusing until I figured that out. So again, just make sure you're careful to check everything before you start gluing things into place. And then here is the version 2 piece for the different buildings. And so you can see on this side, we've got a picture of a building here. and on this side another picture of a building, and on this end another picture of a building, and then it's just plain flat there. But it's 2 layered so that this one fits right on top. And it does have in the bottom, you know, it'll say treasury, stock market, and all these different things you can add in there, but they don't fit that way. So you just have to kind of put it in so that it fits. And I've just kind of, you can see I've got them upside down and right side, you know, facing all different directions just to try to get them to fit in. So they said it's built for this, and I'm saying, well, kind of. I mean, it's not very organized. It's just all sort of squeezed in however you can get them to fit. Same thing here. There's some pictures on bottom. I just tried to put all my really tall ones in here and here, since those were the tallest parts, and this is just a real big tall piece. Again, it's got a building showing the windmill on that side, and then a building there, and then some nice art there, and some nice art there. So it's just a big tall one. And again, on the bottom, it does show some names of things you're supposed to put in, but they don't really fit. And so at least I haven't been able to figure out how to make them fit. Maybe someone else has been able to, but I tried to follow the words on it, and that didn't make sense with the bases. They don't fit in there like that. So yeah, so if you're thinking this is going to be the answer to organizing it so that you can just easily put all the monuments together by their color and things like that, I doubt if that's actually the case. And then over here we've got a nice card tray. This is actually one of the nicer features. It's also got the red, so this one's easy to figure out because it was all a nice bright different color where everything else is tan other than these 2 pieces. And this was also very clear. I have everything sleeved, and so there's the Tapestry cards, and then here are the tech cards, and they do fit in nicely even with sleeves. Now, I don't have all the Automa stuff sleeved yet. I ran out, so I've got some of them sleeved and some of them not, but they're clearly going to fit in there. There's some extra space. So even with the sleeves, that's going to fit. So that was a nice little piece there, how that came together. Now, here's where I'll probably change this in the future. Underneath, I have the board, but I have the rubber play mat, and so I don't know if I'm ever really going to use this. And I tried this on top after watching the Nacho Average Tabletop video. They had theirs on bottom. I tried it on top, and I just could not get it to lay flat. I thought if I could get it to lay flat, then that would be nice for the other pieces. But it always wobbled, and it gave a lot of lid lift, so I went with their strategy of putting it on bottom. Now, I also underneath have all the old rule books and add-ons and reference sheets. And again, I may just take this board and all of this out so that I don't have the lid lift. I mean, these don't take up much space. I also have the folded space instructions underneath here. So I just didn't really have a place to put these things. They're too big for any of the expansion boxes, and I do have those just in a box in my garage. I haven't been able to throw those away yet, like I probably just need to. So I could put this stuff somewhere else, but there's not like a convenient place to put it because the expansion boxes aren't big enough for these pieces. So I'm not sure. Right now I just have them on the bottom. Let me know what you think. If there's a better strategy to this, maybe you figured out a different alternate way to do it. So putting it all back together, then I have the old rule books we don't need, the folded space instructions which you don't need, the board because I'm going to be using the rubber play mat when I play on the bottom, and then I've got the card tray here in the corner. I've got the big box with a lot of the tall pieces in it. I've got the kind of 2 depth box here with more of the buildings in it, and then down here I've got my blue player pieces, and then 1 collection of these, and then my yellow player pieces, and then on top I put green and red on top because that's what my wife and I play. Oof, now I'm gonna have to put all these pieces back in. Hopefully I can do that pretty quickly here. This is a little bit tricky, trying to get everything to fit down where they're not standing up and creating an uneven surface, just because again I have some extra pieces in here with these Etsy pieces. I'm trying to get the dice in here as well. So if you don't use those extra Etsy pieces and you're not concerned about getting the dice in with the players, I just like to be able to say, hey, here are your pieces. That's pretty close. I mean, it wobbles a little bit when I put this on top of the blue. You can see it's got a little bit of wobble because it's not perfectly flat, but it's pretty close. And then put this one right on top there. That goes in nicely. And then we'll put our tiles down here in the bottom corner. And then right on top of that, the white player pieces, which again, I think is the best fit. I just have this folded in quarters to sit right on top of that. and then the dice in a couple smaller pieces, shorter pieces there. But you might be able to see that's like right up almost to the edge already. And then taking the civilization components here, let's see, I'm going to put them this way. Some of them are a little bit warped from the new one, so I'm going to put them this way to see if that'll help kind of flatten them out a bit. But that makes it almost flat there. And so, and then we've got this tray here. So it's close to flat there, and that's why originally I thought, well, maybe if I just put the board here, it gives me a flat surface for everything else, but it really wasn't still sitting nicely. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to probably play around with it a little bit more. Again, if you've found out a better way, let me know. And then I've just tucked the mat boards over here into the corner, and that's all the way flush up to the top here. And then let's see, where did, oh, it's up here. So this I put here in the corner, and that sits flat. And it just, it's so close, but it's just not quite. Like, this just doesn't, it's like a quarter of an inch too big to fit there. If, you know, so it's like the box wasn't designed to hold all this stuff, obviously. If I put that down, then these are bent. So yeah, like I said, I just haven't found a great way to get everything to sit flat. So I've tried to put this like up against it, and it's kind of hanging off the edge here. It's not perfect, but it does fit. I've tried spinning these multiple different ways. So again, if you have an idea, let me know. Then that gives us a fairly flat surface, which I was wanting to make sure these don't get bent. And then the rule books I've just kind of placed on top here with these newer comprehensive rule books. All right, so it's not a ton of lid lift, but it's, you know, it's not a perfect fit. It does all go in there, and there's like maybe a little less than a quarter of an inch lid lift, so it's not terrible. It is nice and snug, so things aren't gonna, you know, drift around too much inside. So yeah, that's how I've done it so far. Let me know if you have some other ideas. Like I said, if you are going to put together this folded space, make sure that you are careful to read the directions first. Dry assemble it first before you glue is my recommendation. Make sure you get it just like you want it. If you come up with a different way to store everything in here that's going to have, you know, no lid lift, keeping things flat, if you got some better strategies than what I've come up with so far, let me know. But at least you can see kind of what's in there, how the different pieces that make up the insert are supposed to fit together if you're doing version 2. Again, if you're doing version 1, it's going to be a bit different. So again, be careful on that. Hopefully this is somewhat helpful for you. It took me a while, but I'm reasonably happy with the way it came out. Probably still be playing around with a little bit and deciding whether I want to keep that board in the bottom or just go ahead and remove it entirely. So let me know what you think. If you have comments, suggestions, I'd love to hear about those. If you found a better solution, definitely leave those comments below so I can try some new things here. But if you're just getting started and trying to figure out how to put it together, here's what I came up with. Hopefully it helps you a little bit. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.